The Challenger explosion was a horrific and tragic event. The entire country watched as it launched and proceeded to explode less than a minute after launch, killing 7 astronauts right in front of everyone's eyes. I think there were quite a few things that could have been done differently in order to potentially have prevented the explosion. For example, there was a lot of miscommunication between NASA managers and engineers, such as the discrepancy of the recommended O-ring temperature and whether it was referring to storage purposes or if it was referring to the launch temperature. Another example is that NASA managers chose to ignore engineers' suggestions and recommendations about the O-ring temperature durability, and they chose to launch anyways, despite the fact that the engineers were so adamant that they did not have enough data to justify a launch, that they refused to sign the launch recommendation. On top of all of that, on the day of the launch, overnight temperatures had dropped way lower than anyone had expected, causing freezing and ice accumulation on the platform. The ice inspection team feared this was a major hazard and risked ice falling off the platform and damaging the heat-resistant tiles on the shuttle. Despite the great concern, the launch director decided to go ahead with the launch countdown anyways, knowingly putting the astronauts' lives at risk. And safety limitations on low-temperature launching had to be authorized and overridden multiple times during the final countdown by key personnel. Doing so, they too were knowingly putting lives at risk. As far as Roger Boyce-Jolly, I don't think there was much more he could have done without risking losing his job. Granted, it did result in a loss of lives, but he did not know that that's what the outcome would be. I think he did everything he could. He prepared a presentation for management to rethink their decision to launch, and he and Arne Thompson tried to talk management out of proceeding with the launch, and nothing he said or did changed anyone's minds. I think the best way to be loyal to management while also protecting the public welfare is to do what those NASA engineers didn't do fully. Test, test, and test again. Get a wide range of data under all possible conditions. And I think it goes both ways too. I think that the managers, in the situation of the Challenger, the managers didn't fully respect the engineers and their education and their knowledge on this matter. The engineers knew what they were talking about. They knew that there was risk. They knew that there was a potential for malfunctions, and the managers didn't listen. The managers, they decided to go ahead anyways because it had already been postponed twice, and they didn't want to have to do it again. But I think that managers need to respect the engineers as well. So like I said, get a wide range of data under all possible conditions. And if you really feel like a management's decision puts others at risk, fight for a reconsideration like your life depends on it, because somebody else's might.